Hello friends, in this video tutorial, we will learn how to stop user to login from multiple devices or from multiple browser with the same login detail in PHP with MySQL database. So here, we will discuss how to prevent multiple logins from same user. So if single user has login into system from one browser, and then after that user has tried to login into system, then that user will be automatically log out from their first login. So these things we will learn under this tutorial and stop to single user multiple login using PHP Script. Now let's start discussing this tutorial, and so this is our testing database. And here, we have one user login table with 4 table column like user id, user email, user password, and user session id. Here in user email and user password column, we have stored login details. And in user session id table column, we will store user login session id details. So when user has tried login, then new session id value will be updated under this column. So when user has been tried to second login, then again session id will be generated. And update data under this column, so user will automatically log out from first login. This is our working folder, and here we have first PHP file like check login.php, database connection.php, home.php, index.php, and logout.php. First we have to open index.php file, and under this file, we have to create login form. So for create login form, here we have write form tag with method is equal to post. Under this form, first for enter user email address details, so for this. Here we have to create input type is equal to text tag with name is equal to user email address. And same way, for enter user password detail, so for this, here we have to create one input tag with type is equal to password tag with name is equal to user password. For submit user login details, here we have to create submit button, so for this. Here we to have write input type is equal to submit, name is equal to login button. And value attribute is equal to login, so by click on this button, here user can submit their login detail. Now we have moved to write PHP script, so first we want to make database connection. So for this, we have to open database connection.php file, and under this file, we have to write $connect variable is equal to new PDO class with 3 parameter. In first parameter, we have to write MySQL host is equal to localhost. And database name is equal to testing, then after in second parameter username, we have to write root, and in third parameter password, we have to write blank. So this code will make MySQL database connection. Now we have go to index.php file. And under this file, here we have to write include statement with database connection.php file. After this, here we have create $1 message variable is equal to blank value. And under this variable, we will store error messages. Below this, we have to write PHP if statement, and under condition, we have to write PHP is set function, and under this function, we have write $post login button variable. So if user has been click on login button, then this block of code will execute. Under this block, we have to write $form data variable is equal to an array. And under this variable, we will store form data. First we want to validate user login form data, so first we want to validate user email address data. So here we have write if statement, and under condition, we have write PHP empty function, and under this, we have write $post user email address variable. This condition will check if user email address has blank value. Then it will execute if block of code, and here we have to write $message variable, and here we have to append error message like email address is required. But suppose above condition false, then it will be execute else block of code. And now we want to check email address format, so for this, here we have to write if statement. And under condition, we have to write not operator, with filter val function, with two parameter. In first parameter, we have to write $post user email address variable. And in second parameter, we have to write filter validate email. So this if condition will check, if email is not in correct format, then it will execute if block of code. And under this block, we have to write $message variable. And here, we have to append error message like invalid email address. But suppose user has been entered correct email address, then it will execute else block of code. And under this block of code, we have to write $form data user email address variable is equal to $post user email address variable. Next we want to validate user password data, so for this, here we have to write if statement. And under condition, we have to write PHP empty function, and under this, we have to write $post user password variable. If user password field has blank value, then it will execute if block of code. And under this block, we have to write $message variable. And here, we have to append error message like password is required. But suppose user password field has some value, then it will execute else block of code. And under this block, we have to write $form data user password variable is equal to $post user password variable. Now we have to write if statement, and under condition, we have to write $message variable value is equal to blank, so if this condition true, that means there is no any validation error occur, and it will proceed for validate login details. So under this block, we have to write $data variable is equal to blank array. And under this an array key, we have to write user email address, and in value, we have to write $form data user email address variable. Below this, we have to write $query variable is equal to select star from user login table. And here in where condition, we have to write user email address is equal to user email address, so this query will check data in database. Now for execute this query, we have to write $statement variable is equal to $connect variable with prepare statement, and under this, we have to write $query variable, so it will make query for execution. Now for execute above query, so here we have to write $statement variable with execute method, and under this method, we have to write $data variable, so it will execute above query. Below this, here we have to write if statement, and under condition, we have to write $statement variable with row count method, so it will return number of row affected after query execution, and it must be greater than 0. Suppose above condition false, then it will execute else block of code. And under this block, we have to write $message variable. And here, we have to append error message like wrong email address. But suppose this condition true, then it will execute if block of code, and here under this block, we have to write for each loop, and under this condition, we have to write $statement variable with fetch all method as $row variable. So here fetch all method will return query execution result data in array format. Under this loop, we have to write PHP if statement, and here in condition, we have to write $row user password variable value is equal to the value of $form data user password variable. Suppose this condition false, that means user has entered wrong password detail. and it will execute else block of code, and here we have to write $message is equal to wrong password. But suppose user has entered correct password detail, then it will execute if block of code. Under this block, first we have to write PHP session start function. So this function will start new session variable on this page. And after this, we have to write PHP session regenerate it function. This function will replace the current session id with a new one, and also keep the current session information. After this, we have to create new $user session id variable is equal to PHP session id function. So here we have stored new session id data under this variable. Now we want to update new session id data under user login table. For this, here we have to write $query variable is equal to update user login table. With set user session id is equal to value of $user session id variable. And under where condition, we have to write user id is equal to $row user id variable. Below this update query, we have to write $connect variable with query method. And under this method, we have to write $query variable. This method will execute above query, and it will update session id data under user login table. Now here we have to write $session user id variable is equal to $row user id variable. After this, here we have create one $session user session id variable. And under this variable, we have to store $user session id variable value. So here we have to store newly generated session id, and under this $session user session id variable. After validate user login data, now we want to redirect user to another page. So for this, here we have to write PHP header function, and under this, we have to write location, which is set to Home.php, so it will redirect to Home.php file. So after login into system, user will be redirect to Home.php file. Now for display validation error on the web page, so here we have to write PHP if statement, and under condition, we have to write $message variable value is not equal to blank. Suppose this condition true, then it will execute if block of code, and here we have to write PHP echo statement with $message variable, so it will display validation error on the web page. Now we have to open Home.php file, and here first we have to write PHP session start function. Now on this file, we want to check user is logged into system or not. For this, here we have to write PHP if statement, and under condition, we have to write not operator with PHP is set function, and under this function, we have to write $session user session id variable if this variable value is not set. That means user is not logged into system, and try to access this page, then it will execute if block of code. And under this block, we have to write PHP header function, and under this function, we have to write location which is set to index.php, so page will redirect to index.php file. But suppose user is logged into system, then user can try to access this web page. And under this page, we have to create logout link, so here we have to write anchor tag with href attribute is equal to logout.php file, and under anchor text, we have to write logout, so by click on this link, user will redirect to logout.php file. After this, on this web page, we want to display session data, so here we have to write PHP print function, and under this, we have to write $session variable. So it will display all session data on the web page. Now we have to open logout.php file, and under this file, first we have to write PHP session id function, and under this, we have to write $session user session id variable. So here we have set session id value by using this session id variable. And after this, we have to write PHP session start function, so it will start session variable on this page. Next, we have to write session destroy function, so this function will remove all session variable. And lastly, for redirect to login page, here we have to write PHP header function. And under this function, we have to write location, which is set to index.php file. So here it will redirect to login page after logout from the system. Now we have to check output in browser. Friends, here we can see login page, and here we can see that. And it has been asked for email address details and password detail for login into system. First we have directly click on login button without filling login details. So it has display validation error like email address is required and password is required on web page. So we have to enter invalid email address in email address field. And in password field, we have to enter 123 and click on login button. So it has display invalid email address error on web page, so now we have to enter valid email address. But wrong email address, and in password field, we have enter 123 and click on login button. So now, it has display wrong email address error on the web page, so now we have enter right email address. And wrong password in password field, and after this, click on the login button. After click on login button, it has display wrong password error on the web page. So here all validation working properly, so now we have to enter right email address detail, and right password detail. And after this, we have to click on the login button, and now it has redirect web page to home.php file. And here we can see logout link, and below it user session it data, on the web page. Here in user login table, here we can see that latest session it value has been updated in user session it table column. Now here in second browser, we have to enter same user login details. And after entered login details, now we have to click on the login button. And here user has been redirect to home.php file, and here on the web page user can view logout link. And session it value on the web page, now here new session it has been generated, which we can see here. Now in database, here we can see that user last login session it has been updated in user login table. But here, still same user can log in multiple times. Now we want to prevent multiple login by same user. For this, we have go to home.php file, and here we have go to JavaScript code part. And here we have to create one check session it function. This function will validate database session it, and session it which we have stored under session variable. If this both session it value is not matched, then login user will be log out from the system automatically. So under this function, we have create one session it variable is equal to PHP echo statement with $session user session it variable. So here we have store session variable data under local variable. After this, under this function, we have write JavaScript fetch method, and under this, we have to write check login.php file, so it will send request to this PHP file. After this, we have write then method, and under this, we have to write callback function with response as argument. Under this function, we have write return statement with response.json method. So this function will receive response from server, and convert into JSON format. Next we have again write then method, and under this, we have to write callback function. With the response data as arguments, so it will be receive data in JSON format. Under this function, we have to write if statement, and under condition, we have to write response data.output is equal to logout. If this condition true, then it will execute if block of code. Under this block, we have to write window.location.href is equal to logout.php. So this code will redirect this web page to logout.php file, and user will log out from system. Now we want to call this function on regular interval, so for this, here we have to write JavaScript set interval method with callback function with 10,000 millisecond. And under this, we have to call check session it function. So every 10 seconds, it will call this check session it function. Now we have go to check login.php file, and here first we want to make database connection. So for this, here we have to write PHP include statement with database connection.php file. After this, for start session under this file, here we have to call PHP session start function. Now for page latest user session it data, here we have to write $query variable is equal to. Select user session it from user login table, and in where condition, we have to write user it is equal to $session user it variable, so this query will fetch login user latest session it value. Below this query, we have to write $result variable is equal to $connect variable with query method, and under this method, we have to write $query variable. So this method will execute above query, and then after, it will return query execution data in an array format. Now for fetch data from this array, here we have to write for each loop. And under condition, we have to write $result variable is $row variable. And under this loop, we have to write PHP if statement, and under condition, we have to write $session user session it variable value is not equal to $row user session it variable value. If this condition true, that means user has been logged in from two different locations. And here we have to write $data output variable is equal to logout. But above condition false, then it will execute else block of code, and here we have to write $data output variable is equal to login, and now for send response to AJAX request in JSON format. Here we have to write PHP echo statement with JSON encode function. And under this, we have to write $data variable, so it will send response in JSON format. Friends, first we have to log out from this both browser by click on logout link. Now in first browser, we have to enter login details. And after this, we have to click on login button, and login into system. Same way, in second browser, we have to enter same user login details, in another browser. And after this click on login button, and in second browser also user has been logged into system. Now here we can see that, in first browser, user has been automatically logged out from the system. So here we can see that, user cannot be logged in from two different locations, using same login details. Now in first browser, we have to enter other user login details. And after this, we have click on login button, and login into system. So here, we can see that by other login details, other user can login into system. So in this part, we have learned how to prevent multiple login by the same user, using same login details. And user cannot login into system from multiple location, using same login details.